Well, good morning. Good morning. How we all doing out there? It's Friday. It's
Good
Finance
morning.
Friday. Finance Friday to boot.
Woo. Morning, I
We got
know.
we got our lenders on today. We got video cameras on, and I'm absolutely I'm loving it. So I've got an interesting story for you guys today. Quick show of hands: how many people? And reminder, reactions is where you find the hand raise. How many people know the story of Milo of Croton? Anybody know the story of Milo of Croton? All right. Well, I'm gonna educate you this morning. So the story of Milo, he was a like six-time Olympic Games champion, real life figure. This isn't Greek mythology or anything. Who was just known to have ridiculous strength. But as the story goes, as Milo was a little boy, he would carry around a newborn calf. And every day he would carry the newborn calf, whether it was around town, around his village. And as Milo grew, so did the calf until Milo was now an adult and he was carrying around a full grown bull. And so the story is meant to emphasize progressive overload. And I think it's something that I am for sure using in my fitness journey. I've been really doing a good job about tracking and trying to get one more rep or a little bit more weight at the gym. But I think it's a story of everything in life that we're trying to get better at. It's just a little bit better every day, a little bit more load onto whatever we're doing. And for me right now, the thing that's coming to mind the most is the struggles that I know a lot of you guys are having with AI, right? We see it, we know it's there, and it's just about trying to do a little bit more with AI every single day. Get the app downloaded on your phone, put it into a place on your phone where you're going to be forced to use it every single day, right? And then extend that on. If it's, hey, social media, right? Can we get a little bit more load? Today I make a story post. Tomorrow I do a video. Then I do a reel, right? So we're just progressively loading on to whatever it is. I just thought it was a really cool story. I don't know if anybody wants to share around this or if anybody feels like they are deep into a progressive load in some aspect of their life and they're seeing the results. I think clearly one of the issues with the progressive overload is you don't see them immediately, right? It's a little bit every single day, a month later, a year later, we're seeing some tremendous results. So anybody have a share around this that's maybe good for the group? All right, Linda, thanks for saving me. What do you got?
Well, it just really reminds me of the book Atomic Habits, and also The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. That it is the compounding effects, right, of our daily habits that are going to lead us either in a very, very positive direction or it's going to take us in a negative direction. So it's going to go one way or the other. And it's choosing to be very intentional about who you are and what your values are, and then having your steps fall in alignment behind it. That's kind of the very macro level of it, but on the micro level, to your point, we can't see the results of things, the steps that we take every single day. And for us in our society, where it's where we like to have immediate results, that can feel deflating, and it can lead us to stop the habits. So for example, when they say that the people who join the gym within the first month, everybody drops out because they're not seeing results as quickly as we like things to happen. But it's just getting those habits in place and just doing them every single day. And to your point, one little bit more, one extra rep, or adding a little bit of weight to whatever the focus is, will yield beautiful results down the road if we can just be patient.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to
Day
want to
one,
jump on?
day one, day
Oh, we
one, or
got.
one day.
All right. I love the video on, Chris. I appreciate you turning that camera on. Don't get yourself in an accident, but we love video on this show. Get those cameras on, and thanks for joining. Well, we're on a Finance Friday. We got the finance boys on this morning. Which one of you guys wants to take the mic and drop some knowledge this morning? What do you got for us?
I know Dan had something we just talked about. He's gonna talk about, so I'll let him go.
Just getting your camera time. I like that, Eric.
That's it.
What do you got, Dan?
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I can't do the camera right now. I'm driving and not so great at multitasking. So, yeah. So a couple things. I know you guys sometimes we like to kind of let you know about some new things that have come out, and not necessarily new, but just a change to one of our in-house down payment assistance programs. So with our Semper Elevate program, and I don't think I mentioned this last week, although I had wanted to. I think I got sidetracked onto something else. But with our Semper Elevate program, really that had been designed to kind of piggyback off an FHA loan and help a borrower get to 100% financing with a 3.5% down payment assistance loan. Now we have expanded that a little bit, where now that down payment assistance loan can actually be for 5%, which doesn't sound like a huge difference, but it does create a more money for the borrower. And really that additional 1.5% in this case helps us to now cover some of their closing costs as well. So with those down payment assistance program, well, with this down payment assistance program, we had always been able to finance 100%, but had to have a plan in place to get the closing costs paid. And whether that was if the borrower actually had some money to bring, or we were trying to get seller credits to kick in and help cover that. This is a way to help bridge that gap a little bit more, and help those borrowers a little more out of upfront assistance to minimize out of pocket costs with the purchase. So that's our in-house Elevate program, and we can actually offer that in any state, and you don't need to be a first-time home buyer to get it. So it's a pretty good program.
Anybody got any questions? I'm just seeing income limits, credit score. Just can we get some more details around it?
Yeah, so there are no income limits. That's another great thing about this program. You can have a non-occupant co-borrower as well. So like if you had someone wanting to buy the house, needs to get a down payment assistance program, but they need dad to co-sign. With a lot of other programs, you cannot have a non-occupant co-borrower with the down payment assistance, but this can. There's no income limit. The credit score is flexible. I mean, it is an FHA loan. The problem that we'll kind of run into with the lower credit scores, really kind of like under 640, the problem really at that point is going to kind of be on the pricing side of things, where with the lower credit scores, we have to sometimes on our side charge a point, but it is flexible with credit scores. So in general, we can go down to like a 620, as long as that loan is still approved eligible through the FHA underwriting system.
Awesome. Linda, I see your hand up. I got you muted though, Linda. There you
Sorry,
go.
is there a maximum for the purchase price of the home?
And
Hello?
Dan, just so you know, I got you guys. I'm muting you guys we had an echo situation, so I'm being very cautious of keeping people on mute when they are not the person going. So go ahead, Dan.
Got it. Yeah, no problem. So that would depend on the county where the property is, because it's still going to be in accordance with the FHA loan limits. But as long as it's not, nothing outside of the FHA loan limits, we could do it. And in fact, actually, we've used this program. I used this program with Nicole Pace, actually. A couple months ago, we closed a client who used this extra money to kind of bridge the gap for himself. So he bought at a purchase price that was exceeding the FHA county limit. He had some money to bring of his own, but then we also used this program to get him some additional funds to get to that FHA limit and make everything work within
Thank you so
what he
much.
was able to do.
Thank you.
So to kind of clarify that, what he was just saying on that second scenario there, the FHA loan limit for the county only adheres to the first mortgage. So we were able to go up to the loan limits for the first mortgage. The down payment assistance didn't count in that limit, so it was able to go above and beyond.
Any other questions on this Elevate program or just finance questions in general? Somebody have something weird going on at a transaction, finance-wise, lender situation that would be good to get these guys' take on? Adam.
And so if we're going to just throw something out there, I was talking with an agent yesterday about transitioning from a single family to a multifamily and telling the bank that you want to move out of your single family and go owner occupy a multifamily. And my understanding has always been that that's a tough sell, that the bank is not going to basically believe you, that you're going to go leave a single family to go into multifamily. You're really just gaming the system. So question one would be, I just want to make sure that's still accurate. And question two would be, what if you have a person that lives in a multifamily, whether it's a 2 or a 3, they've been there for 2 years and they want to, go buy another multifamily and live in that one. Is that going to be questioned?
So I'll
So
jump in on this.
Yeah,
And,
Eric, before you jump in, I just want to clarify so everybody understands the question, right? So if I'm living in a single family property, it's highly unlikely I'm going to leave my single family and go live in a multifamily, right? That's just not the trajectory typically, right? And so the programs that are out there for owner occupied properties are better than for investment properties. Right. So the situation that Adam's throwing on the table is, what if we really have that scenario? You've got somebody that lives in a single family home. They're going to go move to a 3-family home. Can they get an owner occupied rate versus having to go investor? So just trying to clarify. Go ahead, Eric.
Yep. So I'll kind of explain that to what you were getting at. So they're living in their single family. They got their own backyard. They're not sharing walls with anyone. It's, that's kind of usually the finish line is the single family normally. So all of a sudden now you say, oh, I want to buy a 2, a 3, or a 4, and I'm going to go owner occupy it. Usually the only reason someone's saying that is because they want to utilize the lower down payment. If they had to buy that multifamily as an investor, they're looking at 25% down. Versus if they get to say they're going to live in it, conventional will allow 5% down, FHA will allow 3.5% down. So, and they'll get better rates because it's owner occupied. So obviously it's more advantageous to call it an owner occupied from a lot of different standpoints: money down, interest rate, overall payment, all those things. Now, the biggest thing is obviously that's the biggest fraud in mortgages. So that's why it's deemed really not believable, because everybody would say they're going to live there. And then we all know they would never move in. About the only way I've seen that work is if you're going from a single to a multi, maybe you switch jobs and your new job is 80 miles away. Hey, it doesn't make sense for me to commute. I don't want to get rid of my single family. I'm going to go buy a 2-family up there where I'm going to be working. And that way the rent helps me offset my, expenditure. That would make sense because now he's, going to live 5 miles or 10 miles from work versus 80, So it's something that really has to make sense. And then the second thing we'll touch on is multifamily to multifamily. Someone buys this 3-family, they've been living in it for a couple years, say, hey, I want to buy another 3-family. Unfortunately, the one 2 streets over, not really believable. Why would you be believing this 3-family to go live in that 3-family? We know it's not better. However, if they were going, again, from maybe not the best town or the best neighborhood or best school system, it was their first house, it was all they could get into a couple years ago. So they went there, they bought it, and now they want to buy a 3-family in a nicer neighborhood with a better school system because they now have children. Again, if we can make it make sense, we'll let them have a second one owner occupied and vacate the current multi and go to another multi. That's the same units or more units. But it's really got to make sense. The driving factor for wanting to call it owner occupied can't be down payment and interest rate. That's not the reason for us to believe that they're going to go live there. It has to have something substantial that we can hang our hat on and make it's okay. This is believable. They're actually going to live there.
I see a couple of hands up. Chris, you were first.
So what if the husband owns the house and has the mortgage and is the only one on the title on the single family, and the wife is going to buy the multifamily? She's going to live there, like they're separating or something like that. How about
If you can get a legal separation agreement to back up the story, then we'll stop believing it. But otherwise, it just sounds like a story. That's the oldest trick in the book. Oh, we're married, but I'm not on the mortgage or the deed, so I can go be a first-time home buyer and I can go buy multifamily. If they're lying just to put less money down, they gotta be able to back up the lie.
Margaretta, you were next.
Yes, good morning. So what about like when you have a single family and you're gonna rent it, you have a lease in place, and you are actually trying to downsize. There's people trying to downsize and maybe plan to travel so they get a multifamily. I actually have this situation, and that what they're planning to do, and they want to have rent one place and really have an apartment and travel a lot. They're kind of older. So what about that? That's actually a real situation. I didn't realize it might be a problem for lending.
Yeah, it's we've got to be able to prove that it makes sense. You know what I mean? We've got to be able to present the details to the underwriter, because at the end of the day, these files are going to end up, with either Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or FHA. They're going to be sitting there, and they're going to get scrutinized. Because they're usually minimum down payment. And there's going to be PMI insurance that's in there, so you have another party that's going to be scrutinizing the file. So we have a lot of different layers of people that are going to be scrutinizing these files. So we have to make it make sense. We've got to have material items that we can, actually document and put in the file, so that when these people open it up and they go, well, this guy had this beautiful colonial for 3,000 square feet, and he traded it in for a side-by-side townhouse with 800 square feet on each side. Why? That's the first question they ask, is why?
Eric, is the lease in place good enough? Or is it they'll look at that and be like, well, anybody could just draft a lease and submit it as a document?
Yeah, a lease is not like, we all know, we all have a friend who'll sign a lease for us to get our house,
Yeah.
But so we've got to have a substantial, something documentable that we can put in the file, because, we can have all the conversations in the world, but we need substance that we can actually put in the file and leave in the file, because these files, are going to be around for up to 30 years.
Nicole, you were next.
I have a similar situation to Margaretta, and it kind of sounds like, Eric, you keep saying we need proof, but it doesn't sound like, is there any, I know every situation is probably different, but even a lease won't work as proof. Like, what is actual proof that that is really what their intention is to move into the multi and either rent out or Airbnb or whatever the case is, their single family?
Yeah, like you started the conversation with, every situation is different. So we really have to know their situation, the why, and then we'd have to look at, okay, can we actually back up that why? Because some people, their why might be because I want to. Well, that's going to be a little more difficult than maybe they have a colonial in their stairs and the wife got a hip replacement and they're going to get a little side by side, multi that doesn't have stairs. Oh, guess what? That's really easy to prove. You know, so the two different situations, one becomes easier than the other.
And ultimately, Eric, is it like an underwriter that's making the final decision on this, or who's making the final decision that this story is, you know, in the surrounding facts that we have are believable enough?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're trying to sell the underwriter. And if the underwriter's not 100% sure, they can take these documents and they can actually email them into FHA, HUD, and HUD will review it and say yes or no. So we know beforehand, because at the end of the day, you know, as a real estate agent, when you get to the finish line and you get your check, hopefully you never have to deal with that problem again. Us as lenders, we're on the hook for that file forever. We made the determination that we were going to fund it. And now we sell it. We had, you know, HUD insure it. Things go bad 4 years from now. They get foreclosed, find out they never lived there. We get a demand in the mail that just says, hey, you got to buy this back. There was fraud. These people lied. They didn't live there. You got to give us money. So they come back to us. So again, if it's questionable, we're going to take that paperwork. We're going to send it into FHA HUD and say, hey, take a look at this. It makes sense to us, but we want you to say okay now. And then if they say okay, then we go, all right, we're hanging our hat on that email from HUD that says it's okay. And we're going to put it in the file and we're going to leave it in the file.
I saw a couple other hands go up, but they're not there. Did any other follow-ups? Adam, go ahead.
I'm just thinking out loud here. I mean, I think Margaretta's situation and Nicole's situation are real life. I mean, maybe it's just because we're in the real estate world, but you know, if I go ask 10 people how the economy is, I would think 10 people would tell me it's not as good as it has been in the past. So I think this is a real world situation. So I'm just trying to kind of think about how you'd paint a picture, and maybe it's, you know, going to a financial advisor who documents, hey, if you go buy a 3-family, we can offset 100% of your mortgage, right? Here's a budget, here's my suggestions, and get it documented from a professional that says you probably shouldn't be owning a single family right now. So why don't you lease that out? Let's get that rent covered. Let's get into new property, right? And let's get the other 2 units to pay your rent. And now you can actually start saving, right? So I don't know if that's believable or not, but for these people where you can sniff it out that that's really what they're doing, maybe that would be a start to the underwriter.
I feel that would definitely help. You know what I mean? This is their financial advisor, a third party, who's giving them a recommendation, and that's why they're doing it. So that's again, that's something now substantial. We can scan in, you know, this letter from the financial advisor, the financial plan, and we can put it in the file. That's something that we can hang our hat on. So, you know, it's just a lot of people don't want to take those extra steps to get to the finish line. They just say, well, I want to. That should be good enough. What letter do I need to write? Well, we got to prove it. And now you're taking it to that next step that we do need is going, having a third party involved, things like that, actually trying to prove it out. Something like that we might be able to hang our hat on.
Nicole, is your hand lingering, or did you have a follow-up?
Just lingering.
All right. Margaretta.
Actually, so it's kind of reverse how this topic is going, because I was talking to some people and I suggested the multifamily situation for them because they were having the financial hardship. They're like, we need to save money, we need more for retirement, and this would be a solution where technically they have a single family. They're debating if they're going to sell it and invest the money, or keep renting and get equity out of the property and move into that multifamily. So my other question, I guess, is how do we, from a financial perspective, lending, say what is, besides the situation of getting a pre-approved, what is a better solution for people sometimes? Should I be paying this mortgage or not? Should I be paying the mortgage? Maybe reinvest into a multifamily? Is that even a scenario considering these circumstances?
I think Adam hit it right on the head, was, involving the financial advisor. Because, all we know right now is, hey, they have this mortgage, we could rent it out. They could get the new mortgage, get some tenant rent to help cover it. What other debts do they have? What other plans do they have for investing? What is their long-term goal? Those are things I don't know, you probably don't know. nor are we licensed to advise on. So we in them situations, I would definitely be like, do you have a financial advisor? Can we involve him in these discussions and see, you have $30,000 in credit card debt maybe you didn't tell us about? Because in that case, all the cash flow in the world doesn't matter. It might make more sense for you to sell your house, pay off all your debt, buy the 2-family, still get the rental help, and be in an overall better situation, which, let's be honest, that creates 2 transactions for you instead of 1. So I really think, involving a licensed financial advisor in a lot of these cases might be the best thing to do.
We got time for maybe
Great.
one more question. All right, Dan or Eric, you guys have any final thoughts before we just kind of go over the additional training that's available today?
So I'll just jump in here quick. We have later this afternoon going to be firing off some emails to a bunch of agents for the coffees that we had talked about 2 calls ago. So we have 11 applications in since the 24th. So I'm going to be sending out a whole bunch of coffee to agents. So just a reminder, we're still running that. Send some clients over. Once they do the application, we'll get you a little coffee, get you running on Dunkin', get you through the weekend. Especially going to need it, I think, tomorrow night in the snow. Might want some hot coffee to stay warm while you're shoveling.
All right, appreciate you guys jumping on. Dan, did you have anything else?
Yeah, also just kind of wanted to add in there, we are, I know we talk to you guys a lot. I feel like I talk to some of you more than others. We're always available. Please, don't hesitate at all to reach out. For those of you that work a lot in FUB, you might see me kind of going in there maybe around like day 4 or day 5 after you've gotten your lead, primarily like the Zillow leads, and just kind of reaching out to those clients. So definitely, like, if there's anything at all that you could suggest from your end that we can be doing on ours to help you to establish these connections with these clients early in the process, so we can kind of keep everything cohesively moving, definitely please let us know.
Yeah, and we appreciate you. And for anybody that hasn't worked with Semper, I think these are the types of things that you should be looking for in a preferred lender. Is maybe you got a few leads that you just can't get on the horn. That maybe just hearing from a lender could be the difference in moving these guys forward, explaining how important it is to get your pre-approvals done up front. So with that, let's get over to the training that's available the rest of the day. Basically a couple of real estate mastery courses, one on sales and one just general. Remember, times on screen are Pacific time, so add 3 hours for Eastern time. So if you are not at Real Broker and you want to take advantage of these trainings, just reach out. These are open to all agents, all companies, and we can get you registered. So appreciate you guys. Go have yourselves an awesome weekend, and we will do it again on Monday morning. Take care.
Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Bye.